Cory Booker put on a clinic in bullshitting in an interview with Jake Tapper of CNN. So let's watch, and then we'll come back and break it down.
Let me ask you about drugs, because that's obviously an important part of healthcare. And you know, Bernie Sanders was very critical of you and 12 other Democrats for voting against a bill that would have allowed the importation of drugs from Canada. I know that you've answered as to why you voted that way, but he was very harsh. He said you and the other Democrats lacked the guts to stand up to the pharmaceutical industry.
Well, first of all, you know that was not a bill. That was
it was
a resolution. It was
Okay.
not even something that, if everybody in the Senate voted, would have changed one thing. It was a late night resolution during a vote-a-rama that some of us were asking is, hey, put some safety requirements on it. They weren't put on, and so I went right to work. I said, hey, Bernie, Senator Sanders, let's work together. Senator Casey, Senator Sanders, and I put our heads together, worked on a bill that is incredible. Not only will it allow imports, but it gives the safety guarantees that a lot of us were concerned about. This has nothing to do with pharma, it has to do with courage. It's about good legislation, because while most Canadians are getting access to really high quality drugs, if we just did that without the kind of safety provisions we put in there, you could see rogue pharmacies popping up, rebranding drugs coming in from other countries and saying these are now Canadian drugs. So we put things like track and trace technology and other things to make sure our consumers are getting quality drugs.
So you know that there are progressives out there who are looking for a white knight and were disappointed in that vote. And in addition, I think in 2014, you were the #1 recipient of donations from pharmaceutical companies and executives of them. How can these people who are very wary of big pharma and very wary of the fact that rising drug prices is one of the main reasons why healthcare costs are going up so much, that you're going to be on their side and not the side of all these pharmaceutical companies that are in your state?
I'm a big believer that life is about what you do and not what you say. And so my performance in the Senate when it comes to issues that really are important to my community, like, please understand this, a lot of folks in the Senate go home. I go home to Newark, New Jersey, Central Ward, a community of folks who are working class folks who are battling every day against rising rents, rising college costs, a lot of the challenges we're facing. That's where my loyalty lies. And we're trying to, in the Senate, my team is trying to focus on that. So when it comes to pharmaceutical prices, they're too high. And if you look at my performance in the Senate, whether it's a bill I just did with Senator Sanders, or talking and working about other ways to lower prescription drugs. In fact, go back to when I was a mayor, we had ways we did an incredibly innovative program to lower prescription drug costs and get more people into preventative care. So my work and you know this from my history, what got me into politics in the first place was representing low-income communities. I still live in a census tract where the median income is $14,000 per individual. That's where my loyalty lies. I haven't put anything out there ever that's contrary to that.
Okay, I even got lost in his horse shit. It's so ironic. He says, oh, life is about what you do, not what you say. And then he goes on to give us a word salad of platitudes and cliches and my constituents, and they're so poor, and I'm fighting for them every day. And it's just all what he says. So it's all about his words when he just said, yeah, it's not about words. Now let me just give you a word salad and throw it at you and confuse you about what the original topic was. Okay, no, Cory, the original topic was Bernie Sanders proposed an amendment that said, let's import drugs from Canada, and it would cut the cost of many drugs in half like that. Even more than that in some cases. And you voted no. Now, notice, the first dodge is, it was symbolic. It wasn't a bill, it wasn't an amendment, it was just provision after the fact. It wasn't even if everybody voted for it, it wouldn't have had any effect. So, okay, but wait, that doesn't mitigate it in any way. Still, why would you vote against that? Why would you vote against that? Hey, let's import drugs from Canada and let's cut the cost of it for working people who need the money. Yeah, I'm against that. Wait, why? Well, symbolic or something. If anything, wouldn't that even be more reason for you, because you're bought off, to say, I will vote for the symbolic one? Yeah, why not? Because we're not actually doing it. So, and by the way, how true that is, I don't know. This idea of we're just chatting here. That's what this is. Like, that's what this thing we're going to vote on is. We're just shooting the shit. And hey, maybe we should cut costs. No, I'm against cutting costs. So that's the first bullshit line. Then the second bullshit line is, the problem was, it doesn't have the safety standards. So that's why, because, if we do that and we bring the drugs in, there's no safety standards. Well, wait a second, which is it? Because those are a little contradictory now, aren't they? First you say, well, it doesn't count, that's why I didn't vote for it. And then you say, no, I didn't vote for it because it doesn't have the safety standards. So God forbid we bring those drugs in the country and the safety standards aren't there. But I thought you said that this thing wasn't to actually bring the drugs in the country. So which is it? It's so already contradicting himself. And then furthermore, that's just a pharmaceutical company talking point. They don't want to import the drugs from Canada because they're much cheaper. Oftentimes, it's the drugs that we make and then we send to Canada and then they come back in the country. They don't want, because they don't make as much money. The pharmaceutical companies don't make as much money. Now, what's the key difference here, by the way? In Canada, they have an independent board that negotiates with the pharmaceutical companies. And the independent board actually represents the people. And so they're able to negotiate down and cut the prices in half or even more. In the US, under Democratic and Republican presidents, they decided, let's actually ban us from negotiating with the pharmaceutical companies, so we just pay whatever they make us pay. So you can just price gouge the shit out of us, and they do. So, but his dodge is, and this is straight from Big Pharma's talking points. Well, no, the thing is, of course I want to cut the cost of drugs, obviously I do, but, they're not going to be safe? Where's the epidemic of people dropping dead from unsafe drugs in Canada? It doesn't exist, number one. Number two, their regulatory bodies are even stricter than our regulatory bodies. So what are you talking about? Where's the actual issue you're talking about? You made up an issue to give yourself a cover to do the bidding of the pharmaceutical companies. That's what this comes down to. And then Jake Tapper actually does a decent job because he goes on to point out, hey, weren't you the number one recipient of Big Pharma money? He's like, anyway, let me tell all my constituents. Oh, they're poor and I care about them and this is what I do and this is what I fight for. And that's when he gives you the word salad after Jake Tapper points out, hey, aren't you the number one recipient of money from Big Pharma? Like, you take the most money from them of anybody, even the Republicans. He's like, stuff, I care about people, platitudes, cliches. He said something the other day at South by Southwest when he was giving a speech, and it was like, I believe that we are all in a conspiracy of love and blah, 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 blah. And Adam Johnson had a great tweet where he said, I don't know if this guy is trying to be a self-help corporate guru or if he's trying to be president in 2020. But it's like, that's all he does is he tweets like these platitudes and cliches. He's very similar to Hillary Clinton in that respect, as his voting record is horrific. He also, by the way, in the same interview, went on to defend school choice, which is just privatization of schools, which is the Republican position. He took money from, a group affiliated with Betsy DeVos, the Christian fundamentalist school privatizer. This guy is a wolf in sheep's clothing. He's one of the worst corporate Democrats. He took $300,000, over $300,000 from Big Pharma in 1 year. And why is that? Because Big Pharma, many of those companies are in New Jersey. So, and that's the state that he represents. And then he goes, and then by the way, so what happened is, and that's why he kept bringing this up. Look, he learned that he fucked up, Cory did, when he voted against that Bernie Sanders amendment. Because I don't think I've ever seen the internet be madder at anybody else. I mean, every progressive in the country, even people who had voted for Hillary Clinton, unleashed holy fucking hell on him and said, you are a fucking cretin. You just voted against cutting the cost of drugs for working people. Half the country makes $30,000 a year or less. They need cheaper drugs. You just voted against it and you pretend to care about the people? And the day before, he was protesting, or he gave testimony against Jeff Sessions becoming Attorney General, and he was grandstanding like, I'm such a strong progressive leader, I'm against Jeff Sessions. And he said in the speech, this is historic. This is the first time a sitting senator testified against another sitting senator. Look how brave I am. And then the next day, he votes with Big Pharma. So he's just a sleazy, disgusting politician. And the internet rained holy hell in a way I've never seen. There was one time I typed in @CoryBooker on Twitter, or whatever his handle is, and I read through the most recent tweets at him. Literally 100% of them were people just fucking shitting on him. Saying, you fucking corporate sellout, you big pharma whore, you this, you that. And look, they're right, man. Everybody was right. Everybody's right. That's exactly what happened. So as a result of that, Cory realized, because he wants to be president, because all he cares about is himself. Self-aggrandizement, narcissism, even though he's acting like he's not like that. That's why... a few weeks later, maybe a month after the original debacle, he's like, Bernie, Bernie saved me. Okay, I go back now. I switch. Now let's propose a bill that actually does import the drugs from Canada, and he did with Bernie Sanders and with one other senator. So, but look, credit to progressives on that, because it shows you, man, shaming people and being aggressive actually works. Because he realized he just crossed the line where there was no, like, that's it. You're done, son. You know, you might not even win re-election. Never mind fucking president of the United States. You think you're going to be progressive and you take the most money from Big Pharma and you vote with them as you pretend like you're not and it's for principled reason? My ass cheeks. So he realized, I got to try to fix this. And so he actually proposed the bill that does the same thing that he had voted against. So credit, not to him, but credit to the people who pushed him there and forced him there. And we got to do that with all these shitty corporate Democrats. In fact, I want to get rid of the corporate Democrats. We don't have to worry about that. We get actual justice Democrats in there, real progressives who don't want money in politics and who will represent the people. But there it is. Cory Booker putting on a bullshit fest like you've never seen before. This guy is a wolf in sheep's clothing. He's a corporate Democrat extraordinaire. And if you go in that direction, you're making it much more likely that we have 4 more years of Donald Trump.